welcome back now to the newspapers. Let's start with the Finder on the front page. Abu Ramadan versus EC, how far to peaceful elections? No show. That's according to the paper. 39 days after Supreme Court verdict, we're told that no show. The Economy Times says government on course to achieve primary balance surplus. And also on the front page, Ghana to issue a $2 billion bond to help clear power firms' debt. We'll talk about that. Daily Guide has an inside story of how Ireland was robbed. We'll tell you more about that later on. We're told that a focal lawyer grilled, and Mr. Ayariga holds Congress. The Daily Guide says Kate's Congress. Daily Graphic has the president photograph and that of the president of India. It says president thanks India for its support to Ghana. And then two Christian groups call on EC to implement Supreme Court ruling. We'll talk deeply about that. Now, today's newspaper has Navy officers angry at lack of logistics to fight boat disasters. 8 killed in Central Region floods. And the BEC is on. Over 400,000 people are writing. And also the Ghanaian Times on the front page, 2 children, 2 women die as floods hit Cape Coast. Mr. Ayariga there, his party are claiming him as the flag bearer of the party. And then COCOBOT says we know nothing about the sale of WAMCO. We'll talk about that later. My guest in the studio to my extreme left is the CEO HR Perspective, Dr. Edward Kwapong. Dr. Kwapong, good morning. And thanks so much for joining us. And then to my left, a well-known one, Member of Parliament for Menchia South, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh. Doc, welcome. Good morning. And how's Menchia doing?
Very well.
Very well.
Very, very
great.
Well.
And the campaigning is going on well.
It's on course.
On course. And I'm sure you're likely to be retained. That's your hope.
My hope. my hope is for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be retained.
Oh, okay. And you can...
There's an automaticity in mind.
Oh, okay. Okay. Doc, welcome. And then to my right is a Member of Parliament for Equity. He was here last week. Was it last week? On Plus 275.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, they heard you.
Heard, oh. He thinks that your constituency is quite difficult. Is that
yeah, he's right. No? He's right because traditionally they had the seat.
Okay.
And then I was able to snatch it from them.
Okay.
It has been their #1 priority, but it is an illusion. I'm telling you them that people know what they want.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm so grateful for your time this morning. Well, we're starting a Tuesday on a very light note. Okay, let's start with this one. The Daily Graphic has a story. 2 Christian groups call on EC to implement Supreme Court ruling. And then the Finder newspaper has no show. It says 39 days after Supreme Court's verdict. The names are still there. The EC says a process is on to remove the names, but of course, it is attracting more concerns than we can bear, I guess. Let me start with Dr. Kwapong. The verdict has been given, and it's been described as no show. 2 Christian groups asking EC to go ahead and implement the ruling. The EC says the process is on. We're in the midst of all this. Can you diagnose what is happening? Are you able to?
Well, it's a difficult situation. We have all accepted the rule of law, and therefore when the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, has given a ruling, it must be obeyed. And so we expect the EC to obey the orders of the court. They are not saying they will not obey. They claim they are doing something.
The process is on.
The process is ongoing. But the question is, the concerned citizens of this country must know what is happening. Information, there is an information gap, and that must be filled. Then we'll all be comfortable. Otherwise, we are not sure what is happening, and time is running. We have just about 5-6 months more to go for the elections. And if something is ongoing and nobody knows except the EC, then we have reason to be concerned.
So, but you trust there is a process, but your worry is to make it known by people.
To the electorate and to all concerned citizens, and particularly the political parties. My understanding is that almost every week there is some kind of meeting, the IPAC, and then the EC also invites them to inform them about what is happening. If that is indeed the truth, then the general public must also be made aware. And particularly the political parties must let their followers know that, yes, something is happening. Indeed, something is happening. Otherwise, it's two stories from two different angles, and it's your word against my word. We don't know what is happening.
Right. Yeah, I'm grateful, Dr. Kopa. Let me go to Dr. Opoku Prempeh. So, is that your worry too about transparency, the fact that the public doesn't have the information? Do you believe the EC is engaging in a process to delete the names?
What is the EC doing?
Well, we're told that the EC says the process to delete. The EC says the process to delete the names is ongoing.
I'm not sure the EC has said that, as you say so emphatically. I'm not sure.
I heard the deputy chairperson say that the
really
process is ongoing.
I'm not really sure the EC has said what you are saying, because there will not be that confusion in the system if the EC has said what you are saying.
My problem, chairperson said it.
Forget about the deputy chairperson, like Dr. Kapol said. All Ghanaians must be aware of how EC intends to implement the Supreme Court ruling. It is not a matter of calling Baba Jamal or Matthew Opoku Prempeh and telling you, oh, we want to do this. We are not Ghanaians. We are not the citizens who vote.
Right.
EC does not, mind you, EC does not work only for the political parties. Actually, the EC works for the general electorate of Ghana. Their decisions must be transparent and verifiable to everybody. How do you intend implementing the Supreme Court ruling? You see, the lack of information is perception that the EC is in bed with NDC. I'm not sure even NDC.
Oh, only
is
the
happy.
NDC?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm not sure the NDC is even happy about what is going on now, because they would prefer the EC to come out to say that we are doing ABC in furtherance of the Supreme Court ruling, pro or against.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But when there's that lack of information as to how you are going about to insist or going about to ensure the Supreme Court ruling is obeyed, you are doing three things. People think NDC is manipulating you. Two, if you don't obey the Supreme Court ruling, who next might also decide not to obey the Supreme Court ruling?
Can political parties manipulate the EC?
I'm
Your party has been in power before.
I'm just saying, when my party was in power, we were accused of manipulating the EC. It's perception.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the reality. Okay, why would EC not follow Supreme Court ruling? Why would EC not follow Supreme Court ruling? I said the perception then becomes, oh, the EC is in bed with the government because the government doesn't want anything done about the register. It might be totally wrong, but the perception. That's why I'm saying that I know that even some elements in NDC who are very close to the IPAC don't like the idea that there's this huge information gap that Dr. Kapol talked about. 39, you said 39 days after
the ruling.
So a ruling, you might like it or not, but it becomes a ruling. And Baba Jamal was telling me, in law, they call it case law. Baba, is that what you call it? Supreme Court ruling? It becomes case law. Yeah. So even if they can't follow the Supreme Court ruling, the EC must go back to the court and say, this ruling you gave, we can't follow it. You get my point? Because we cannot do A, B, C. Because it is not Matthew Opoku Prempeh who went to the Supreme Court to say, I have the records. You went to the Supreme Court to say, you have the records. And the EC, the Supreme Court is saying that, oh, since you have the records, publish those who came and give them the chance, opportunity to register. It's so simple. During the exhibition, let me give you an example. During the exhibition, the EC has decided to extend the exhibition from 2 weeks to 3 weeks.
Right.
Okay. During the exhibition, why not publish in that polling station? Because the exhibition is going to be done in all polling stations.
Right.
That in this polling station, where there are 100 people on, 50 came to register with NHIE cards. If you are a Ghanaian, bring something to show you're a Ghanaian, come and affirm. Because we have the BVD machines there, and you have re-registered. Probably some are even dead.
IPAC isn't able to discuss this. Just a brilliant suggestion you made. IPAC is able to discuss with
That is why Dr. Kapong says that there's an information gap. The fact that I'm not a member of IPAC, Baba Jamal is not a member of IPAC, Dr. Kapong is not a member, but we all vote.
But you know IPAC decisions because your party knows.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't even come around this table. I don't care about IPAC. The EC will tell you IPAC is just advisory. Actually, the name advisory is part of the A. That is the A in IPAC. But he has to do things for all Ghanaians. maybe I registered with NHI card. You know that it's possible that a member of parliament may have registered with an NHI card. So come and display it. Let the person go, oh, yeah, Napo, I registered with NHI card. Let me go and bring my passport. This is my passport. Okay, put your hand there. Napo, who we took is the same person who has come to our fair. Let his name still be on the register. What is wrong with that? And that idea that somebody says you are disenfranchising is actually ignorant.
That the person
law, let me tell you
unable to
yes.
get the opportunity
let me tell you
to
the law.
register?
The law allows
Is it ignorance?
Yes. The law allows continuous registration. Right?
How?
The law in this country, today, if you have good reasons why you couldn't register, and you go to EC, from a Supreme Court ruling in 2000 or something, one brigadier, is it Tenadi, went to court, and the case law was that his name was to be put on the register.
Yes.
And still today, I know of people, even very, very important people, who missed registration, who came and went to EC to have their name on based upon continuous registration, which has been part of the law from 1992. So I'm just saying that same law says that if you do it 90 days before the election, even though you'll be registered, your name will not appear in the register. So it affected 6 or so polling stations in Upper East during the 2012 elections. So we shouldn't make fuss about something that we have been operating for.
No, but your point is that assuming the EC goes ahead and expunge the names, and some are unable to, for one reason or the other, get the information to go back to re-register, they can still go ahead and register at any time that they are ready.
Before 90 days before the elections.
I see. 90 days before the elections.
And their names will be included in the register.
So
that is why there's a group of people thinking that the exhibition, instead of making it voluntarily, make it mandatory, that this particular exhibition, actually, I think that whether we like it or not, this exhibition should be mandatory. Do you know why?
Tell me.
EC is creating 29,000 polling stations for the next elections. Agreed at IPAC, communicated to the whole country. That 29,000, the only time Baba Jamal will know that I vote in this particular polling station is at exhibition time.
Right.
Because they are changing everything, because some polling stations, the numbers was huge, they are collapsing some, they are adding some. So it should be mandatory for every Ghanaian, when they exhibit this register, to go and see where his or her name is. Or else on election day, Baba Jamal, who voted under a tree, a mango tree, has now been put in a classroom. Who voted in the classroom has been put in a public park and will be running, and that confusion is not good. So the mandatory nature should happen. Whether for the register or not is a different thing. But for exhibition, every Ghanaian, and I will treat every Ghanaian who wants to cast a vote on election day, that when they exhibit, go and know where you are supposed to vote on election day.
Dr. Machupo, I'm grateful. Baba, so is this as simple as what Dr. Poku is suggesting? The EC can easily deal with this?
Yeah, I think that the issue of making this exhibition mandatory or not goes to the core of the issue of voting itself, because even voting itself is not compulsory, and so exhibition cannot be compulsory. But it is important that we urge every Ghanaian to go and check his name if only he wants to vote, because he must be able to know where he has to vote, whether his position has changed or not. The second issue is that, you see, it is this continuous accusation of the NDC or the ruling party that they are in bed with the EC, which complicates the matter. This is a matter for all of us to interrogate. So the issue about...
Because some seem to suggest that you are in agreement with every decision of the EC.
No. I'm going to espouse my views here, and whether I'm in agreement with them or not, you know. But what I'm saying is that anytime we try to impugn, or we try to say that the ruling government is in bed with the EC, it compounds the issue. So it makes it difficult to separate the issues and be able to deal with them. EC is supposed to be an independent organization, and it is. And to a large extent, we will all attest to the credibility of our electoral system, and for that matter, the EC. So we shouldn't do anything to, take away that credibility they've built for that long. Yes, there is a ruling, and the first reaction to the ruling by the EC was that thing that they have been ordered to do is already something that they are already doing. I think that was the first reaction they came out with. That thing that they are already doing that thing. But by and large, a lot of us think that they are, even if they are doing it, they are not communicating it well to the populace for us to know what exactly they are doing. That's where the problem comes from. So if you are actually complying to the ruling, then there must be some physical aspect of it or actions to tell the populace that we are doing A, B, C. By now, we are finished. You see, the ruling even came before the limited.
We were told 39 days after. That's
yeah, 39.
And you were saying when it came.
When the ruling came.
Over a month.
And then we did this exhibition. Limited registration. And now, up to now, I don't think that the EC has been able to come out clearly to tell us that this is the process we are going through to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling. And this is where all of us as political parties should hold them to it and let them come out with a clear calendar that, okay, maybe this exhibition that is coming, this ABC will happen in complying with the order. That is where I have my problem. But you see, otherwise, if you continue to hide your actions in the dark, and then people will continue to be asking questions, and everybody will get worried about what is happening, I agree entirely with Napo that, look, we are going for exhibition. Even to save cost and to save time, that would be the best time to comply with this ruling. Can you please come out with because I don't think that most people registered with National Health Insurance. It may be just a fraction of the people who registered. So can you come out with, for example, Denchambo, we have 49,000 people registered.
right.
Out of that 49,000, these 2,000 lists is the people who registered with National Health Insurance. Now, all those people should go and check their name. If they have their name there, they can take either something else, their passport, driving licenses, or whatever, to go and show that I am a Ghanaian.
Or two people.
Or two people, like the registration, so and two people to follow them and say, okay, this is my brother or this is my sister, and that she can register. Then the process just goes on. So you can even if you don't verify it, you can just take them. So as it goes, they can re-include them, and those who don't go, they can be deleted. That is the only way we can be able to do this thing, saving cost, saving time. Do you understand? So I think that the EC must show by their actions that they intend to comply with the ruling. But if they may be doing everything right, but as long as people don't know what you are doing, it creates a problem for all of us.
I see. So the problem, like Dr. Kopon said, is that we need to have that information. Can we say, or can we argue that perhaps the EC is doing this job that we are asking it to do, that the Supreme Court has asked it to do, but we're not getting information? That is why perhaps we're complaining so much, because the EC will have to go through over 16 million forms. That's what we're told. Can we argue like that? That it is doing the work and yet we're not getting that information. That's why we're complaining?
Yes, but well, the figure is huge. But this day of technology, we should be able to verify, because it will not be done manually for us to assume that it will take forever. But if there are electronic means of verifying and deleting, and I think the EC has said that they know the people who registered with the National Health Insurance card. They know. And if they know, then it shouldn't be too difficult for them to delete or to flag those names, call people to come and say that you registered with National Health Insurance. We are deleting your name, but we are giving you an opportunity to re-register so that we don't disenfranchise you. So that should be doable. The second leg of it is that for the EC to be seen to be neutral and credible, the pre-validation list should be available and post-validation available. Then we'll be convinced that, yes, we had an initial list. After the review, we have this list. So indeed, as they, like they said, indeed, they have done the validation and everything is clean. Coming back to Napo's point, I have always advocated for exhibition of the register. It could be done manually at the polling stations. But I think in this day and age, you should also have an electronic version so that from the comfort of your room, you can access the list. And if you live in a polling station and you know the people who really reside there and who vote there, you can easily realize that this person, no, he doesn't belong, or he's been imported into the list wrongly and all that. So I go with him as far as the exhibition is concerned. There shouldn't just be the manual, but the electronic as well.
Dr. Opoku-Prempeh, let me come to you quickly. Now, Baba Jamal is suggesting that when you allege, not you per se, but when it is alleged that the ruling party is in bed with the EC, it complicates the whole conversation. About that is why we are in so much confusion about this.
It's true. With that, I don't have a problem. It complicates the whole issue. That's why I made a statement here that I know serious NDC people around IPAC who are not happy with the EC, how the EC is behaving with this information gap or communication gap. They are not happy. But what can they do? So unfortunately they will get stigmatized because they are in government. These are some of the things that when you are in government, it accrues. Especially so when certain pronouncements agree with EC pronouncements agree with NDC, fairly or unfairly. So I don't think that he thinks that I am saying that, but because like I said here, I said it's a perception. I believe it's not wholly true. But let us get around this whole thing. EC does a lot of things that it's doing that the court is asking it to do already. The EC publishes a list of those who have doubly registered.
Right.
If you go take the police station and they have a blacklist there, this person is not allowed to vote because he has registered twice. They provide that list. So what is new? What is new?
That is illegal.
See, it's not illegal. You must be arrested if you register twice.
Okay, all right.
It's not illegal. But what I'm trying to say is that what Dr. Kwapo is saying, if the EC was going to listen to it in good faith, it's going to help the EC, but they won't listen. Why am I saying that? There are 1,000 people in this police station, Baba Jamal's police station. There are 1,000 people. 500 registered with the NHIL card, right? EC, 500. Baba Jamal will run in his constituency to help the EC, to help identify those people so that they can come and re-register. If you like, let EC do it within a matter of 3 days. Because it is in his interest.
Because you might not know who that person is going to vote for.
Yeah. You see that Napo continuously uses me as an example. It only affirms the fact that the way they are targeting my employees.
No, I'm using it because you're my brother here.
You see, but you see what Dr. Kwapon is suggesting about the electronic version of the register. You see, already, I think that's
let me finish.
Okay.
It was part of the agreement for 2012 that the register should be in a format on the internet so that we can all look at. Because you see, an underage person might have registered in my police station, actively supported by me to register. And Baba Jamal may have taught that person in class and knows that that person is below it. That person should be given the option to object or challenge.
Right.
And you can only do that in this searchable format. The other good thing is that if we all cast our mind back, when we were registering, the form A1 was scanned and the details appeared on the laptop. You cast your mind back. And so that when they made a mistake, your name, if it was hospital, they changed it on the laptop before they printed out the third portion for you. So it is still in a searchable, it's supposed to be in a searchable format within the EC. Continue.
Yeah,
Okay,
Baba. I was going to say that suggestion, raised a lot of concern. and I think the compromise that was arrived at is that to give the electronic version to the political parties.
They
which
do
has
give
been
it.
done.
They do that.
So as I talk to
Which
you
is
now,
given almost every time.
Every political
party
party
has
has the electronic version, has access to print it, but the only thing they cannot do is to change it in
The form in which it is given to them.
that
It is an unchangeable format.
Right.
unchangeable format. So, but
Great.
they can print it. And as I talk to you now, that is the database we use to print our register for our
For your
election.
primary.
But that database, what I'm saying is that it doesn't include the form A1 that they had, which ID number.
No,
had.
all what I'm saying is that at least we are a step in the right direction.
That's what
we
I'm
have the
saying.
electronic form.
That's-
Any political party has it. So you can easily go on the computer and see everybody. You see, but one thing that I want us to understand. You see that this type of incessant attack on the EC is also not helping. Do you understand? And you see, it's like we have so much doubt in the EC to the extent that people don't even want to take what they also say, because sometimes they also say a lot of right things. So they may have their own strategy to handle this. As an independent body, that is why we have about 7 commissioners who are supposed to sit down. They have their own legal team. They have their people who are working for them. I would only want to say that the EC must be a bit forthcoming with information. That is maybe where I have my problem. They must be forthcoming with information and let people know what is happening with them. Because if you don't know what is happening, you are forced to speculate. And this speculation is not helping the system.
But
I think that's
Okay.
what we have.
But
All right.
as an
Okay.
lawyer,
Let Dapo have a last round and
I
then
know.
we'll-
I was just saying that even if EC cannot do what the court is saying you should do, shouldn't it go back
He
quickly
has to go back to court
and solve the problem?
and then solve the problem from there. But you see, when they have already admitted
Did they?
that they are already doing it.
That's where the difficult. Okay, I'm grateful for that. Let's move on to the Economic Times. A story, Ghana to issue a $2 billion bond to help clear power firms' debt. We're told that that 10-year syndicated $2 billion bond is likely to come before the end of the year, and it is to clear legacy debt owed by power utilities. We're told that a senior government official has said. Now, the lion's share of the proceeds is meant for the VRA. The rest is between Gridco and ECG. That's according to the Chief Director at the Ministry of Petroleum, Mr. Thomas Akabza. Now, what government is trying to do is to put all the debt portfolio, the debt into one portfolio, and that will enable government clear the debt. Dr. Koppon, again, I'm starting with you. Some concerns have been raised about this bond. The reason being that we were told that the energy levies were to go into paying the legacy debt. And now $2 billion bond, we're told, will also go into paying the same debt. The concerns are that why use this to pay the same debt? The energy levy also paying the same debt. Is that something that somehow amazes you?
Yes. You see, it's if we're going to use the energy levy to pay that, and then we're also going to use the loan to pay that, then there's a bit of double counting there. The snag though is that the energy levy will be realized over a long period of time.
Right.
It's not like one touch and
It's
the
not-
money
it's
is
not
there
a
for you.
quantum sum
That's
that you
yes,
get
yes. So
immediately.
you pay over, you realize that amount over a period of time.
The money drops in
That's
slowly, drop by drop.
Slowly, yeah. And therefore, I believe going this direction, bonds to pay off the debts. Of course, when you raise the money, you pay back eventually. And therefore, as we wait for the revenue from the energy levy to come in slowly, we'll have paid off the debt, and then we have a source for amortizing the debts. So that is fine with me. All right. But the question is, why did we allow so much to accrue as debts for these utility companies? VRA, Gridco, ECG. Don't we have control mechanisms in place? What did the board do? What did management do? What did the Auditor General's Department do? Why do we look on for such a gargantuan debt to be created for us to turn around and go and raise money through bonds to pay off this? I worry about that. Now, the double counting that I'm saying, eventually when the energy levy, or that levy is realized, and we pay off the debt. I mean, we raise money to pay for the bonds that have been raised. What happens? You know. Now, the other thing is that it's healthy for the utility companies to have a clean kind of a tabula rasa situation to then launch a new campaign going forward and deliver quality service to consumers. So I'm happy. I hear that some of these companies have been blacklisted by the banks. They will not allow them to take loans from them because they are not sure they'll be able to pay back these loans. So yes, let us help them start afresh, tabula rasa situation, and let us see how they perform. They have always given the assurance that given the needed support, financial and technical, they'll be able to deliver better service. So then let us make sure that, yes, they are going to deliver quality service to all Ghanaians. I'm grateful,
Dr. Kuba, but let me come to you because the concerns being raised is that, for instance, we've been told of the toll debt that we keep paying and would not know how much of it we have paid, how much of it is left. Now, this legacy debt is been haunting us for only God knows how long. The question is, if we don't know how much is it, what we have paid, what is yet to be paid, why then are we then raising another bond to go and pay for the same debt that we're told energy sector levy is paying?
No, I don't think that there's any doubt about the fact that they owe or they have debts.
But how much do they owe?
As to how much they have or they have paid or have not paid, if you make the necessary inquiries at the right sources, you should be able to have those information. So it's not something that is hidden. In fact, I don't think that the ECG doesn't know how much it owes, how much it has paid. It has all its records. And so there's this tendency for people to say, oh, they are paying, we don't know what is happening. But if you make, fortunately for us, NAPO is here. We are making serious progress on the right of information bill. So this will come. We are hoping that we'll be able to pass it before we rise. If we're able to
do we need that before we can have information that?
No, that is what I'm saying, that even now, you can make inquiries at the right places and you can have it. But to make it even mandatory on people to provide you with that information, when the right of information comes, it's going to help. You understand? But you see, these debts, anytime a company goes into serious debts like we have, it affects their performance as a company. In fact, when you like it to our own human beings, when you are indebted too much, in fact, you have no confidence. You can't even manage your own affairs. Before you get up in the morning, you know you are confused already. So it affects their performance rate. And that is why, that is the only basis that or the only reason why I agree that, look, can we clear this debt? And you see, the government has already given indication that it even wants private participation in some of these companies. The private investor, when it comes and the company is in too much debt, it will not be attractive to it. So sometimes when these debts are taken off, one, it allows for good management. Two, it makes it attractive for investors to come in and also improve their managerial, standards. So based on that, I will go in for these bonds and say that, look, let's clear the bonds, but putting in place checks and balances that we don't go back to this again. You see, if we continue to raise bonds, pay, and we accrue a new one, pay and accrue a new one, then we are only robbing Peter to pay Paul. We are not going forward. But we must make it a point. But you see, that's why I'm saying that it is good that we give them a fresh start. if you don't give them, they will always have a reason to say that, oh, it's because of these debts that we are not moving forward. We have to pay this. We are raising money and paying debts. But once you clear it and you know that, okay, this is the amount we have paid. Through this means we are paying this debt. But now you don't have a debt. Go on and manage the situation. You make it attractive for other participants to come in. And I think that is the only reason why I will go in for it. But you see, we must hold public institutions accountable for their actions.
Who created the debt in the first place? It's the same government institutions who are not paying their bills.
No, but you see, when you come, as I talk to you now, serious measures have been done to take care of that. As I talk to you now, all of us, even ministers, our house have been metered.
And you're paying.
We are paying our own electricity bill. Come to the ministries. Every ministry has been metered. We are paying our ministries now. Some ministries, prepaid meters. Some ministries, if you don't pay, you are gone off. So it has even forced a lot of ministries to now go in for generators, so that in the interim when they are taking off, they can rely on the generator until they mobilize money to go and pay. So serious actions have been taken in that direction. When you come, even water, now all our houses have been metered. I live just at Roman Ridge here, and all those houses, all the ministers and it has been metered, water has been metered. So that is direct confrontation of this problem, and I think that is why. So now, when you take action to clear the debt, you are putting in place checks and balances to ensure that you don't accrue all those debts again. So I think that we will give them a second chance. We will allow them to do that, but with the assurance that we will not allow ourselves to slide back into this mess.
Again, I'm grateful, Baba. Napo, so we should go ahead and use the $10 billion, the $2 billion to pay, but the agreement is that we shouldn't go back.
I wish it was easy. You see, how many ministers do we have in the country? Ministers and deputy ministers and DCs. Give or take 300. Give or take 300. Okay. 210 DCs, about 100 ministers.
Yes, but Napo, before, when you take these people, you have a large chunk of chief directors.
Oh, they all don't pay for utilities?
Until recently.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them were living free. And they are about 3 times.
I was coming to that. You just hit the nail. Because below the ministers, who are very small, the executives, the politicians, they're very, very small.
Very small.
You come underneath, you have the public servants, directors and chief directors, who live in the choicest areas of Accra, who didn't pay. But beneath them is the bigger. The hospitals, the teaching schools, secondary schools, JHSs, the barracks, police and military. They all don't pay. So this 2 billion, right? Nearly 90% is owned by government to these. Government owes itself. That is going to deal with it. This is not the first time we are having a debt clearing settlement. That's why I'm afraid when Baba says we hope that when we clear it, it won't come again. We've cleared and it has come. I can give you one. In 2010, in 2009, if you remember, 2009, 2010, the biggest issue was store debt.
Right.
Yes, that the government said that you collected so much money, there are still some debts that existed. And Dr. Colorado went to the bond market to borrow money in 2009 and 2010, cleared all that debt. So when we say legacy debt, it is not coming from years, it's coming from our inability to settle these institutions that we ourselves have created. It's not legacy that it came from Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, from Kwame Nkrumah's time to now, people are enjoying it free. But now we are free, it's gone. But can we, going forward, say we are not going to create the same debt, when even in the same government, when they've cleared it, they've created it? And we shouldn't run. We shouldn't run. I made this statement and I'm going to make it again. To transfer public debt to private debt.
How?
We have got beaten. The BDCs. First, the government debt was to TOR, which we cleared.
Right.
It was government on government. So even if government went to borrow money, it paid itself. Right? Because TOR was owned 100% by government. Right? Now the BDCs are private entities. And the government owns the BDCs as we speak, nearly $600, $500 million. So the 2.2 billion that we are taking, 500 is going to the BDCs. It is no longer coming back to the same government to improve the government balance sheet too. So we have converted a public debt to a private debt by our actions.
No, but when you read the thing, it's saying that the total cost of the debt is about 1.5 billion.
That's what I'm explaining.
BDCs.
Yes.
To
To
the
the
energy sector,
but
right.
they are taking 2 billion,
Yes.
which means that another 500 extra is there to settle other aspects.
I agree.
So
What I'm trying to say is that if the debt was TOR, the government was going to pay government. We had borrowed money because we had created TOR as
So it goes back into
to the
our
government
accounts.
coffers. Government can go back and if it goes into profit, I've taken the profit from even TOR, like it does for Cocoa Board and Gapoha and things. But now, the 500 million is going to BDCs. For how long can we have a situation where TOR can provide 70% of our energy fuels and we are not helping TOR? But that is another one. I'm saying that in another thing, Baba, that we all have to think about. This private sector participation is creating another private monopoly from a public monopoly. The private sector participation that is coming, this 1.5 that is going to the energy sector, it will come again.
Sure.
Because the government would not find that money to pay all these institutions, the barracks. The ministers there, Baba Jamal is easy to hassle. The barracks, are you going to put the meter in individual policemen or the hospitals when they don't have money?
Universities.
And in this country, the university is right there, we can close it. I'm saying the barracks, the hospital, when people are going to have surgery, and Kolebu says that we don't have money to pay electricity, so we are shut down. The government will be forced to, even Kolebu lift, don't they come to parliament to raise money. I'm just saying that me and you as politicians should be thinking. Now we're going to bring a private individual to come and operate our ECG for us. When they are coming, they are taking the most lucrative part of the ECG. Take it from me. They are taking Accra Tema, secondly Takoradi, Kumasi. That's the most lucrative part of the ECG.
Yeah, no, they are not. You see,
But let me finish.
Okay,
You finish
Baba,
it.
let him
private
finish. I'm sure
sector-
he's going towards ECG from there.
Yes, the private sector is the 4 places I've said that they are taking. Kumasi, Accra, Tema, secondly Takoradi. That is where they are taking. The most lucrative part is what they are going to take. And those are where our major institutions are. The barracks, the police barracks, that's where they are. Okay, they take it. And in 3 months down the line, government hasn't found money to pay because government is in crisis. I know, I'm not saying every government goes into crisis, a cycle, it's cyclical. Then what do we do? But think of it, how much are the media bringing to take out our ECG? They are bringing 500 million. We owe our energy sector 1.5 billion. Somebody is bringing 500 million to do other things, and you are giving him the most lucrative part. I'm just saying that we could have supported, I could have supported the government in bringing private sector participation, and that's where I'll end. But not in a monopoly manner. Look, GOIL is also sells energy, right? It belongs 100% to government. Just imagine if every government institution could go to GOIL and buy fuel without paying. That's where I'm supporting Baba, that they have meted ministers. The GOIL station there is a private sector participant. So if Baba takes his car there, he has to pay and take it.
Right.
So GOIL makes money every year and gives government
A dividend.
a dividend.
Right.
ECG makes what? So why don't we start thinking? And I'm telling you, it's done. ECG, they have a substation that supplies a defined area. All those in that substation are supplied. Why would ECG not meter? And they have metered. Why would they not meter the substation and give it to Baba to operate and tell Baba that these are the houses under?
So
when you collect the money,
regulated.
when you go and buy your prepaid, don't you go to a private person to pay? So that ECG substation, I've given you 1,000 kilowatts of energy. These are the houses. If you take my money from me, I'll give you 50% as a rebate. There will be no pilfering. So there are more thoughts that we can sit and put around the table than the easy way. You know, when you are lazy, you always think about the easy way out. The easy way out. When NDC went to court to protest against Aqua Vitae's run, it was a 5-year management contract. 5-year management contract. Now they are doing a concession for 20 to 30 years.
Napo.
Bro.
Okay, Napo, you end. Let Baba come in, and I get Dr. Kwapong to come in too.
Napo was going to start his statement. The first statement he opened his comments with was that he wished it is that easy. I also hope that, or wish, what he is also proposing are that easy to do.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. You see, so that's the issue.
So, but you are taking the cheap way out.
No, we are not. We are not. You see,
But
let's
for
make
monopoly,
let's
I'm
make
totally against it.
one thing clear. It has been stated over and over that government is not wholly privatizing ECG. Nobody should have any doubt about that.
But
so if you say that, no,
Baba had made me finish, I would have said that I didn't use private. I said
no, hold on.
I said concession. And in the World Bank speak, in the World Bank speak, concession is one of the 5 privatizations we have.
No. Listen,
concession is one.
It is not even all aspects of ECG. There's some particular aspects that are going to have private participation.
Right.
For example, the service aspect, the out service aspect, not maybe controlling the energy supply or something, So that is the issue. But you see, I agree with him to a large extent when he talks about this. But wherever you go, even in America today, are you telling me that we don't have what we term as essential institutions?
But they are still
we have them. No, we have them.
Yes.
And so we should rather have innovative way of ensuring that those institutions, for example, if you talk about Kolebu at its height, for example, I am one of the proponents that I don't think why should we, government submit an institution like AMA.
That's not Kolebu.
And then Tema, no, I'm coming.
I agree with you on that
TMA, KMA, Kumasi.
Take them off.
They should be able to live on
They should be able.
property rate.
And you know why? Because we are not taking them off. When I was in the local government ministry, it was one of the things that I'm not there now. One of the things that I was proposing, because I think that we should phase them off in some number of years. Maybe give them 5 years and say every year you are reducing their distance and take them off. Because as we talk to now, AMA, with all these institutions in it, government is still subventing them, paying their workers and all those things. So we must find innovative ways of ensuring that we are able to balance the essential services.
So one of which is to
one of them is to take this Kolebu, as I was going to say. Kolebu, for example, the IGF raised in Kolebu
huge.
So why should the universities even today?
Universities don't even go there. The dollars they collect from foreign.
Exactly.
Don't even go there.
It's serious. It's serious. So you see, these are the loopholes that all of us we need to plug.
When students pay hostel fees, government should force them to use part of the hostel fees to settle electricity and water. Not charge new ones.
Do you understand? And you see, for example, when you go to come to the secondary school where even there are weaker institutions in terms of IGF. But I know some of the secondary schools, I'm telling you, the sort of flamboyant celebrations and what they have. If they want, oh no.
Okay, all right. I agree with you. Okay, let me give Dr. Kwapong the last word on this one and then we'll move on.
Right. I know some secondary schools, not all of them.
Okay.
Some are so weak. But I know, but
all the universities can
some of them. Okay, all right. But I'm grateful. Let me give Dr. Kwapong the last word on this one.
In all these, we're going to focus on the energy sector and how to raise revenue. Yesterday, I was reading something on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy. And the minister or the chairman of that committee listed about 6 levies. Energy sector levy, street light levy, 10% removal of subsidy for consumers, 17.5% VAT. So they are going to pass on all these.
Is doubly charged.
They are going to
doubly charged.
They are going to pass all these on to the consumer. And so then the cost of electricity will be very high. And the question is, will industry be able to pay for electricity? Will individuals be able to pay for electricity? And if industry is unable to pay for the electricity, then they may be compelled to close down or reduce their scope of operation. It will affect employment. It will affect, and when people are not employed, they don't have income, they resort to all sorts of means to survive. So let us be mindful of this. That yes, cost of efficiency in electricity production must be ensured with all this injection of monies. But at the end of the day, the cost to the consumer must also be taken into account.
Do you know something? When Ivorians, when we buy energy from Ivory Coast into this country, it costs 11 cents per kilowatt hour. When Ivory Coast we buy. When we generate from our generators, it's 17.
Wow.
The emergency power plant, the car power, I'm telling you something. If we didn't have those emergency power plants, Ghana would have been blackout now. Because it's only in Ghana that emergency power is cheaper than our normal operators. Baba, we have to
is it
start.
because they are thermal machines?
It doesn't mean, I'm telling you, if I'm giving you the rates, the emergency powers are charged around 14 cents. The normal Abuazi and things, some are 17 up to 20. And Ivory Coast is bringing it up to 11. I'm not saying that we can't do something about the emergency, but I'm saying that the country has gotten it so wrong, such that our normal generators are more expensive than everywhere else.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All
You
right.
have to start thinking.
Okay. Right. Let's wrap up our conversation on this one. We're told that the social protection policy has been launched, and it is. Oh, Napa, why are you laughing?
Baba Jama is making me laugh. Making me laugh.
Right. So the policy is intended to for the poor, the needy, and the privileged, and also to ensure that their plight are alleviated. We're told it's the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa, and seeks to promote the well-being of Ghanaians through an integrated platform, the vulnerable. The provision of social and financial assistance for social service. So we're talking about LEAP. We're also told about the fact that from 1,600 beneficiary households in 21 districts in 2008, we have now increased 146,000 plus in 185 districts as of June 2016. A lot of information there. In addition, the minister said that 52,000 plus persons with disability and inmates at the various witch camps have also benefited from the program. So generally, a social protection program to support the poor. Baba, let me give you the first bite.
You see, social policy goes to the core of our policy as a government, or should I say our belief as social democrats. So definitely, I'm not surprised that this is happening in our government, because that is our orientation. We are for the vulnerable, we are for the poor, we are for the weak in society. So I'm not surprised we have such a thing. And it is also true, you see, that all the social interventions that we inherited from the NPP, unfortunately, because they don't have that orientation as social democrats, even though they brought very good innovative, they so poorly managed it that when we came, we virtually have to redo it. Virtually. That is why when you look at the national health insurance, it was managed at the district level, and even the district level, it was still struggling at 550-something thousand people. We came, we nationalized it, and as I talk to you now, the outpatient department law is taking over 11 million people from 500,000 that they left at district level. At that time, if you're in Denchambo, you can't go to Baby Kumasi, and you know, so you go to maybe the these national youth employment models, all this crisis. The crisis stemmed from the fact that it was a good policy, but poorly managed. It didn't have a policy, it didn't have a law, it didn't have any basis, so people were just doing whatever they wanted. We came, as I talk to you now, we have passed an act, we have regulations also ready. So it tells you that we as social democrats know when it comes to social interventions, we are masters of that game. And that is exactly why I'm not surprised that we are coming up with such a nice policy, first of its kind, south of the Sahara. And now, you see, when you look at the LEAP thing that you're talking about, you may have your own reservations about LEAP. Personally, I had some few challenges with it in the beginning.
You have plenty. See all the challenges.
I had my own. I had some challenges. But if you look at the numbers that is involved, if you look at the penetration of the LEAP, it tells you that we are getting to the vulnerable, we are getting to the poor ones, and we are doing a lot in that. Look, when we come, look at the number of hospitals that has been expanded.
Are we still on the social protection?
Of course.
Okay.
You are protecting the poor. You have national health insurance, you don't have access to hospitals. What is the benefit of it?
Okay, Baba, wrap up for me. Let me get
So
to
I am
We're
just
running out of
saying
time.
that as masters of the game of social interventions, when we came, we succeeded in ensuring that all the things that they did wrong, we perfected it, we expanded it, we introduced our new ones, we ensured that we give the basis for whatever they are doing.
Okay, Baba,
I
I'm
think
grateful.
that Napo will applaud us for that.
Napo, do the applause and let's go.
No, Baba is a personal friend, so I don't want to hit him hard. But I was scanning through this so-called social. You see, no matter how you dress a cat,
Yes.
it's still a cat.
Oh, yes.
But it will look beautiful.
But they are beautiful cats. There are some cats when you see them, you don't want to touch them.
Glorified cat. Because I was look, you see, hey, Luther, again. You see, I was going through, and if it had been something new or original, I would have been very, very happy. Right? When you look through, when you read, it mentions 4 things. Persons with disability,
Yes.
National Health Insurance Authority, LEAP,
Yes.
And then inmates of which camps and
and the
others.
wage comes. Okay, 4. Let's say 4. I'll put the wage comes in the vulnerable situation.
Right.
They are vulnerable. Okay. None of them is original.
No, but who is talking about originality here?
Baba.
Because there's no problem that is original.
Okay,
It's
Baba,
not
Baba,
original problem in Ghana.
you allow him to.
You see, the cemetery speaks. You know that?
No, but is there
You know that
any
the cemetery
original
speaks.
problem?
You know that the cemetery speaks. The cemetery.
yes.
It speaks.
Yes.
But it's very sad
It's very
when it
silent,
speaks.
yes.
Yes. It speaks when it's very sad. So you just be cemetery for me small. I know it's
We'll
going to
wrap
hurt.
it up.
I know it's going to hurt you, but you just be small. Leap. There's no originality of thought. He claimed they are social democrats.
Yes.
You came to meet Leap.
Yes.
Right? There's no originality of thought. Persons with disability. He was the deputy minister for local government. And the 2% given to persons with disability existed in the district assembly common fund before he became even a minister. There was no originality of thought there. It was there. I'm telling you why.
Now, but what is your point?
I'll tell you.
I am
We're running out of
I'm
time.
really surprised.
When I
What
go
is your
to
point?
Baba,
Baba, you keep quiet.
When you go to NHI, the whole point about NHI and the vulnerable and the disadvantaged, that was free, even including maternal care, was there's no originality of thought there. This social protection common targeting mechanism was already a policy that we were discussing before NDC came. Why? Because there's a lot of government benefits going around under Akufo, whether it's free school feeding or something. So we thought that, for the poor and the vulnerable and the disabled, let us have one targeting mechanism so that when the person enters into it, right, all those things kick in directly. It has taken them 8 years of fuffles. They haven't done anything about the paper. Not only that,
Okay, now
sit
wrap up
as a
for
member
me. Let
of
me
the
get
National
Dr.
Health
Kwapo
Insurance
last word. We can
Committee,
run out
our
of
Health
time.
Committee of Parliament, and I'm telling you, if there was anything called collapse and bankruptcy, the NHI is Yamutu.
Now, I'm grateful. Dr. Kwapo, please, we're running out of time. Just the last word from me.
Originality. The policy is being launched is original in its own. What's
All
the
right.
problem?
Okay, please allow Dr. Kwapo last word from me.
I know every government, whether NDC or MPP, will seek to promote the interest of the vulnerable in society, because invariably they constitute
You think
them.
or you do?
Well, it's prudent for politicians to do that, so they will do that. But for me, my interest lies with the impact assessment of all these projects.
Okay.
At the end
All
of
right.
the day, we have a scorecard to determine whether they have
All
been
right.
effective or not,
Okay.
and whether the target
I'm sorry,
population has
Dr. Kopo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we'll have to wrap up.
Sure,
Dr.
okay.
Kopo is the CEO of HR Perspective.
He
Dr.
thinks.
Matthew Opoku Prempeh is the member of parliament for Menchia South, and Alhaji Honorable Baba Jamal. I'm messing your name up like that.
There's another Baba Jamal going around.
Alhaji Mohammed Baba Jamal.
Baba Jamal Koni.
Okay.
So
You are
Is he the
Alhaji
fraudster?
Mohammed Baba
No, he's
Jamal.
not a fraudster.
MP Fakulty. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for your time this morning. We're grateful for your time.